Hi, it's May 23rd, 7:07 p.m. And there might be loud noises around me, but that's just the washer, dryer, and dishwasher that's, going on. Today I have a special guest on this, and it is my little cat, Numi. Say hello to her. Her little chunky. She says hello, everyone. Hi, YouTube. Aw. Okay, just jumped off. But today I want to talk about what if you're different? What if the reason you're late is because you're actually different? Okay, cool. So this is something I've been pondering about for a while now. Okay, um, ugh, sorry, her hair. Anyway, this is something I've been pondering about for a while now. Like, this idea, I used to compare myself to people a lot, and I still sometimes fall into that trap, and I'm sure that it happens more often than not to all of us now because we're like raised in this generation of social media, raised in this generation of being comparing ourselves to thousands and thousands of people. And growing up, like, for example, our parents probably didn't have the same problems because they only had to compare themselves with their neighbors or their friends or their other family members. So they only had like those points of like comparison, which is why they didn't grow up with this overwhelming sense of falling behind in life. I mean, I'm sure they did to an extent, but we more than ever, I feel, have like grown up with this sense because of social media, right? So that's why one thing that used to bother me a lot was like maybe I'm behind in life. I'm behind in life. I don't know what I'm doing. And I think this is also like a 20s thing. Like, you feel like this in your 20s. But a thought that I've been pondering on recently is, what if I'm just different, you know? And that's why I need to put this message out there, because I feel like there's a lot of us that are feeling this lately. Like, a lot of people that I've talked to lately have been feeling like this, you know? Like, I'm one to like have deep conversations with my friends. I try to like observe people and break people's like habits and behaviors down, because that's just who I am and what I love to do. If you don't know that already about me based on like all the vlogs that I've been doing. But yeah, like, I have been thinking a lot about this idea of like, what if I'm just different? And it actually made me feel a lot better than what I was thinking before. And that idea I was thinking before was, maybe I'm just behind, you know? Like, maybe all these people have their shit figured out and I am behind. I have not figured my shit out. And then I realized today, while I was actually hanging out with one of my friends, that we all constantly have this question against each other. So, like, it is extremely possible that many of my friends or many of the people who have seen me online posting content have compared their lives to mine and thought that, oh, she has her life sorted. Newsflash, buddy, I don't. I really don't. Okay, but that's the thing. Why are we so obsessed with thinking that we all have it together when none of us do? And I just don't understand. Like, who was that one person who like, came up with this entire concept of like having their shit together and like decided that, oh, I just have my shit together, I'm like better than everybody else, and like all of us have to suffer because like we need to find that person and we need to put some sense into that person, because it is a lie. It is a lie. Okay, so if you are feeling lost, this is just my like, I guess, my little internet vlog video to tell you that all of us feel this way. Every single person, that CEO of that company, they are also feeling that way. None of us have any idea what we're doing. And we just are stuck in this perception that all of us know what we're doing. We're all just a bunch of babies who have no idea what we're doing. And the reason why this is because we all are living for the first time. So nobody knows what we're doing. It's that simple. That's it. Okay? So anyway, coming back to this idea of like, what if I'm different, right? Is this question, I used to think about this question a lot when I was younger, like I was one of the fortunate ones, I am extremely grateful and extremely lucky to have parents in my life who have instilled immense amount of self-belief in me right from when I was a kid, right from when me and my brother were little. They have told me and my brother that we can do anything we want, we can be anything we want, we can do anything we want. And that has literally, like, if you don't know, that changes a child. Okay, like sometimes you grow up becoming delusional, and that's what happened to me. Like, I grew up being delusional in the best way. Like, I would say, like, I wouldn't say, like, I've already said before, like, I wouldn't really call it delusion. I just had this belief in myself that I was meant to be great. Like, I have had this feeling in myself since I was a kid. Like, I've known this, okay? And that's because of my parents, because they instilled this belief in me. And same with my brother. He's also grown up that way. The thing is, when I ventured out into the world by myself, aka moving to another country by myself when I was 18, 90% of people are not raised like that. And that is really sad, okay? That is because of, I could go on a tangent and explain a lot about, like, trauma and, generational trauma and how to break it and all of those things. And if you want a video about that, I am not a psychologist, but I will make a video about it just because I, listen to a lot of these things in my free time just to become a better person and just a better human being. So sure, I'll give my opinions about it. If you want to listen to them, you can, but whatever. My point is, like, I realized as I, ventured out into this world on my own, that 90% of the people were not raised like this by their parents. They were raised to be insecure. They were raised to be constantly doubting themselves and fearing and judging themselves and shaming and guilting themselves. And what did they say? Like attracts like, right? If there's one good apple and there's 5 bad apples surrounding it, that good apple is gonna become bad. So what happened to me was, when I, this impressionable mind, when I moved to, this country by myself at a ripe age of 18, I started doubting myself, and I started fearing, and I started guilting and shaming, and I had to go, to extensive, periods of therapy and, all of these things. And I'm not saying that therapy, you shouldn't go to therapy. You should go to therapy, even when you have your shit together, which is not a thing, like we have previously mentioned. But even when you are, self-aware and emotionally intelligent, you just still go to therapy, because therapy is just talking stuff out with people helps, from a third-person perspective. Anyways, I digress, as I do multiple times. But what I was saying was, so because of that, I started, going through this place where I became, hive mindset, where it became very much I started feeling more insecure about myself. I started thinking, in this fear-based, anxiety-based way within with around people. And it kind of goes back to what I talk about in terms of Neville and stuff. My concept of self started becoming more insecure. My concept of self started becoming second guessing myself. My concept of self started becoming more doubtful and anxious, and I was in this state. I was in this state of mind, right? And as we know, these are just states, so we can change them anytime. But my state growing up, so myself, my identity, the core of who I am, has always been a secure, confident woman who knows that she can do whatever the fuck she wants whenever she wants, because that's how my parents raised me, okay? That's how they raised me when I was little, and they still talk to me like that. It's a joke, but sometimes I'll call my parents up and I'll just be like, hey, I think I should go to law school. And my dad's like, oh, okay, yeah, you should do that. Then another day I'll be like, oh, actually, I think I should get my PhD. They're like, oh, yeah, you could do that. And then another day I'm like, maybe I should be a doctor. They're like, yeah, you could do that. And they are serious. They they believe in me so much. And it's just I love them, man. I just love them so much. If you can't tell, I'm riding off a cleaning high, so I'm a little manic at the moment. I know that's the wrong word to use, but I'm just very antsy. That's the word. That's the right word. I'm very antsy at the moment. Hyperactive at the moment. So anyway, but my point is okay, let me calm down. I think as I started going on this healing journey and connecting to myself, reconnecting to myself, kind of became this cycle. Except I started at point A, okay, thinking I had to get to point B. So my point A was my insecure, anxious self. and I had to go to point B, which was my confident, secure, independent woman self. And I went in this cycle thinking that it was like this straight road that I had to go from point A to point B. But I just came back to exactly where I used to be. So the thing is, I actually read this quote one time, and I think that this is very applicable in this situation. It says that to become spiritual, you have to understand that being spiritual means that you just have to do nothing. Like, the way you are is you being spiritual. That's it, okay? But to get to that realization, you have to go through this entire cycle of healing and learning and whatever to come back to the same point that you don't need to do anything. It's a paradox. It really is. It is a paradox. So I came back to this question of what if I'm different? And the question why it keeps popping up in my mind is because we're always told in today's day and age that being different is a problem. It's everywhere. You probably don't see it, but it is everywhere. Right from people on Instagram commenting on some women like dressing in the same way, where they're like, oh, they all look the same, or like us like buying the same clothes, or us like recommending like things like selling out, like one video on TikTok going viral and then that product selling out because everybody wants it. But the thing is, if we all end up becoming like each other, then there is no way that we progress as a society. And I stand by this. Our goal should be to be different. And when I say be different, I'm not saying that we're sitting here trying to be different on purpose. I am saying we are so authentically grounded in who we are as a person that we automatically become different. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is another video I was watching today. Nelly was talking, like the rapper. He was rapper. He was talking about how he had to compete with so many, or he didn't say compete. I think he just said that you have to understand like the era of music that I was in, like the late 90s, early 2000s, the kind of rappers were in the game and how they were, he did say competing for the first spot. There was 50 Cent, Eminem, then there was Lil Wayne, then there was DMX, there was who else? I can't. I'm blanking out. Anyway, but Jay-Z, okay, Kanye. Like there were all of these rappers. Kanye, actually no. Kanye was more so mid 2000s. Yeah, scratch Kanye for a second. But anyway, these other rappers, okay. So he was like saying that you had to understand, and the thing is like they played clips in between of all these rappers. And they all have such different styles of like rapping. Like if you listen to all these 4 or 5 artists that I mentioned, they have such uniquely different styles to themselves of rapping. But that is what makes them good. It's because they are so themselves in their like music that they are distinguishable, and that's what makes them the best. Like if you had to ask people who is the best out of the 5 of these, you will get astronomically different answers, because beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. So for me, in all of this lineup, this is my opinion, I would say number 1 tie would be for me Lil Wayne and Eminem. Okay, that for me. Okay, anyway, but if you ask somebody else, their opinion might be different, right? But that's where the beauty of being different comes in, We are so obsessed these days with being exactly like the girl we see on Instagram and that influencer and that content creator and that and this and that we've lost ourselves. And the reason we've lost ourselves because we're so caught up in becoming like somebody else. Because it's so much easier to be like somebody else, isn't it? It takes guts to be yourself. It takes guts to discover what you like and put yourself out there and be completely yourself. It takes balls. Okay? Not everybody can do it. And that's why not everybody here is a Rihanna. Not everybody here is a Sierra. Not everybody here is a Priyanka Chopra. And I mentioned those three because I love them with all my heart. Okay? But not everybody here is a Keke Palmer. Okay? But my point is, like, not everybody here is, like, you know, these people who, like, we find inspiring. And that's because they did something. They had belief in themselves, and they were completely authentically themselves. These people are uniquely their own brand. These people uniquely have their own sense of self and their confidence, and they have this innate ability to be different. They're not competing against each other. They just are who they are, and they're in the same rooms. They're in the same leagues or whatever, right? So, ask yourself this question today. How do I be different? How can I show up differently every day in the way I show up? But when I say different, I'm talking true to myself, authentically myself, and something that I want to do versus what I think I should do or what society is telling me I should do or be like. That is what I mean when I say different. And try it for like a week. Not even a week. Give it 3 days. Show up as yourself. Pull up as yourself. Pull up in the Sri... Okay. I can't. I'm too unserious. Pull up in the Sri Lanka. Pull up as your unserious, playful, crazy, insane self. Put yourself out there and see how many people fuck with you. Respectfully. Yeah, I actually really like that entry. I know it was long. This was probably my longest one. But, yeah, I really like this one. I'm really proud of it. Anyway, I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Let's go out.